Good day, race fans. Welcome to the Intentional Wreck Podcast, a podcast made by race fans for race fans, from the casuals to the lifelong gearheads. My name is Jeff, and I'm here with my fellow hosts, Corey and Finn. And we are coming off a fantastic race at Indy that started a little slow, got really good. This was a very interesting weekend. Before we dive into the action, let me go ahead and take care of a little housekeeping / marketing type stuff. For those, you should know if you're listening to this live, that you can find us on Twitch under the name Intentional Wreck Pod. Also, you can find us on YouTube under the name Intentional Wreck Pod. We're currently working on potentially branching ourselves out a little bit to get more onto the audio feeds, get onto your Spotify, Pocket Cast feeds, stuff like that. If you're like me and generally consume podcasts on a daily basis on an audio format, I want to make sure that we can serve you that way, so you can check us out down the road. Now to the fun. We had Indy start out in what almost looked like it was going to be entertainingly disastrous, in the sense that it was very slow to start. That first stage, the gap between a lot of the drivers, the follow the leader that we were seeing, some of the just, I don't know, like I know I started kind of falling a little bit into a lull in those first 15, 20 laps, and I'm like, oh boy, come on, give me something. Like, we need to get some juice here in what we were going. How did you guys enjoy the race, and what was your initial take as we got to start, and then as things started to pick up? Because that third stage was fantastic.
It was. It was the most Chase Briscoe-iest of races, where he just dominates the beginning of the race and then ends up somewhere in the high teens. But no, it was a great race, man. I mean, it was a little more strung out than a lot of what we've been seeing lately, with all the road courses, so on and so forth. But it was good. I mean, the third stage was excellent. I wish they hadn't had the delay at the end, but it worked out, I think, how everybody wanted it to. At least everybody on this pod, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And to make your note about it ending, I do like the decisions that we're seeing, and it's happened a couple times, to like say, hey, we're gonna get this last 10 laps in, no matter what. There's still daylight. Consistent. Let's not call it. And I like that. One, it helps in a scenario like this where, if a race gets called for Bubba and he wins, the narrative that goes on online is just a whole different scenario versus, hey, he just went toe-to-toe with Kyle Larson on older tires and won. Now,
at a track that Kyle has won.
Right. It was a bit of a slug, but Indy has always been that way for the Cup cars, right? These are the tracks where the fuel, like, again, we're back to this. Stage racing allows for way less strategy calls you can make for fuel. But then, we've seen races this year where, like, we get to that third stage and you go, why is the third stage so good? The third stage is so good because even though there isn't passing, it's finally long enough for different strategies to matter. Could we just get that race? That's what used to make this kind of race really good, it was a race-long strategy. You would never know where the cautions were going to fall. Here, 2 cautions are coming out no matter what. Deal with it. Figure it out. Whereas now, if it was like, hey, this whole race, but somebody's been off strategy all day, and now the things have aligned perfectly. So now you have a guy who's, Bubba's 5 seconds out, saving fuel, saving tire. Kyle trying to run him down, fast tires. Can he do it? That sets that up. You could do that. Yeah. So we got the end result that we wanted. It's just the journey we got there wasn't amazing. But that's fine. Not every race is going to be a banger in terms of passing for the lead start to finish.
Yeah. I agree. It was not as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be as a race in its totality. I will say that. Because I didn't get to watch Indy last year.
Right.
So watching it this year, I was kind of like, this is good, but
right.
It's more meaningful than good. Like, does that make sense? It's like, oh, this is so cool that it's at Indy, and that's what makes it cool. But, like, if they were strung out like this at Talladega, it'd be the most boring race of all time.
Well, it's very Pocono-ish. I mean, Indy and Pocono, I think you can draw...
Better example, yeah.
Right, you can draw some serious, like, you can draw parallels as far as the two, with just having that little bit of a different shape, a lot of flat, a lot of strategy necessary as far as how you're going to approach the corners. And speaking of strategy, to Finn's point, one of the things that I thought was very interesting is we actually did see a reasonable amount of varying strategy throughout
Right.
this race that I thought was pretty cool, that I don't think we've gotten as much of in totality throughout this season. Because you saw it wasn't quite the same, like, all right, we generally know that almost everybody's going to come into pit at this particular time, and we know that it's going to be this cluster and that. Like, we saw a lot more of, you saw Bubba's strategy at the end tended to be like somewhat different. You were coming down to the last 40 laps or so and kind of seeing a bit of a variation between different teams as far as how their cars were running, which is how it should be.
Right.
But you were seeing more people that were saying, all right, I'm willing to roll the dice on fuel here. I'm willing to do it, make a different change as far as when I'm going to rely on my tires. You saw a little bit more sacrifice one for the other, especially when we saw a difference between fuel to tires, right? Because you'd see someone throw on some tires, not get as much fuel, and basically say, roll the dice, we're going to do it. Or you saw people, take a longer stop, get whatever they need, fall a little further back in the pack, and hopefully they can rely on having a good car to get up close to the front. But yeah, that's one of the things that I found very intriguing, especially about that third stage, is you had, what was it, probably like 4 or 5 different clusters of cars that their last pit lap was separated by a reasonably substantial number in comparison to what you would ordinarily see, what you've ordinarily seen this season. Is a lot of times that number is almost the same going down the board, except maybe by a lap or two, because somebody tried to gain just a little bit of track position. But as you know, with Indy, given the distance that we're talking about, track position does matter, especially when, you got a 2.5 mile track and your ability to try and get close to somebody is going to vary a lot based on how close you can actually get up there, get into the draft, get into clean air, whatever you need. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, the race had its entertaining moments, right? You had Bubba Wallace obviously winning the race, holding off a hard-charging Hendrick car, and listen, if for nothing, Bubba Wallace needs to win more races because he can burn them down. I don't know if y'all watched that burnout at the end of the race.
Burnout.
Yes.
And my
10 out of
brain,
10 burnout.
yeah, 10 out of 10. The only one better this year, in my opinion, was SVG at Sonoma burning it out down the line while high-fiving the guys on the pit road wall. That's what I would say is my current favorite, but super sick to burn it down like that. So I mean, good race. Shout out also Catherine Legg. Finished P17 in that McLeod shitbox on the lead lap. She passed SVG and Chase Briscoe on the outside to secure P17, the highest that team has ever finished on a non-drafting track. So this was just a big day for the haters to eat their words. If you want to hate Bubba for who Bubba is and the history around him and his fight for as one of the only African American men in the Cup Series, right? Cup Series, right? And obviously being in the sport and dealing with everything that's gone on in the country, and then Legg, who's coming in, and it's hard to be a woman driving the sport. We saw what happened when Danica come. We saw and not only that, to come and not even get to drive elite race cars. She genuinely is like punching up every single week and is the laughing stock of the field. So to come out here at a track she's good at and put together that performance for that team deserves praise. So we had that. And of course, the Ty versus Ty show, which ended up not being as, climactic at the end. But nonetheless, you get to see Ty Gibbs, who...
Just what Ty Gibbs needs, $1 million and his first trophy in the Cup Series. Congratulations!
Well, he's driving for a struggling low money team. So
the win,
the win. We know it's not going to the draft.
This might
Joe Tibbs Racing, dude.
Listen, he needed
startup.
He needed the win, and that helps. I think it does help, right? Just the same way we've seen like exhibition wins help guys kind of get back in shape. So I do think we are very close to a Ty Gibbs victory. I do think we're close. In fact, I think we're closer to a Ty Gibbs victory than we are an Alex Bowman victory at this rate. But nonetheless, I thought it was a decent race. Very, very interesting. We've just had a weird schedule where everything's kind of road course, Pocono, road course, Atlanta, and then Indy, like in Dover, that's hard to pass. Like we're just craving a oval, a real mile and a half
Right.
banger of a race. You know what I mean? Like we're just not getting that. That sucks to come out of this and everybody's like, all right, back to real NASCAR racing, and now we're back to the dirty air and no passes for the lead, and that's frustrating. So I do hope that Iowa delivers. I wish I could remember what happened last year's race, but my senses are telling me that a Penske driver won the race at Iowa last year. So I probably forgot it.
Well, here's the other thing with this week too is someone else that I was talking to a couple of days ago made a good point in that this past Sunday had a chance to kind of be Motorsport Christmas in July,
right?
With the way you had Belgium for F1, which like ended up being pretty much a dud. It was the Lewis Hamilton show, right? That was one of the most significant stories that coming out of that race. Watching that, I was thoroughly impressed with the fact that Lewis was bumping through just about everybody and made his way up for a decent finish after starting, way further back in the field, considering how things went for him in qualifying and everything else. That was the main storyline. Otherwise, not a lot. I mean, being a McLaren guy, I was happy with, seeing Lando and Piastri doing great. I was fine with that. I even, particularly with the way that things started, I just on a hunch laid a bet down that Piastri was going to take it and not Lando, despite Lando being on pole.
Right.
Shocker. Took a little bit there. And then the Indy race was this is one of those things where at the IndyCar race, it was another example of just Alex Palou's dominance this year. And this is one of those circumstances where you're watching and you're like, I want more excitement, but I really got to respect what I'm seeing right now because Palou is absolutely killing it. That team is giving him rocket ships every single week, and he's using them to their full potential, aside from the one race where, he decided, he made a mistake with Scott Dixon in his rearview mirror, and you don't do that. And Dixon capitalized and took him. But other than that, Alex Palou has just been on an absolute monstrous run. And this was another perfect example. And it would have been even further. He would have gone flag to flag if it wasn't for what I would have considered a fairly boneheaded situation on IndyCar's part, where you had a car spin out and was dead on the track. The nose is on the track, like sticking out here at the top of the hill that's leading down to the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. You're looking at a situation of one of the more dangerous areas of the track. There is a car on track, and they don't throw yellow until multiple cars have to drive past them at full speed.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing? Like, come on, man. That could have been so much worse than it was. I'm glad that it wasn't. But
well, I mean,
yeah, there was that.
Yeah. I'll interrupt you here because you're on a point about how serious motorsports wrecks are, right? We saw at Chicago Street Course a caution get thrown a little bit late after Cody Ware took one of the nastiest hits I've seen, hitting a tire barrier at over 100 miles an hour with no brakes. Then that going on, fortunately, no accident. Did you guys hear about what happened at Stuart Friesen this weekend? So if you're not aware, Stuart Friesen is a current Truck Series guy, but he's like a dirt track legend from Canada. And he was doing a dirt track race, like a super late model race. And they were going, and this car got wrecked, flipped up in the air. And while he was flipped upside down, another car hit the top of the car, like driver's side. He's out for the season. He might never drive again. He's like fractured pelvis, punctured lung. Like he is messed up. It is genuinely one of the most terrifying accidents I've ever seen in my life. Like it's kind of blurry because it's a dirt track, but a car upside down and then you get hit full speed by another vehicle and there's nothing to brace the shock. It's just like the car's ripping through you. So they released a statement. It seems like he's stable, but I mean, I'm not expecting him to drive again. And this is a playoff driver for the Truck Series. So, I think we just, safety has come such a long way. But I definitely feel like there needs to be a little bit of a focus on, not assuming the cars are going to, hold up because there can be some gnarly accidents occurring. So, I don't think we can leave the Indy conversation without talking about Connor Zilic, who has won again. That's 3 straight wins.
That's wild.
He hasn't finished lower than 5th since he's come back since Charlotte. He hasn't finished lower than 5th. He's finished second twice, once to SVG at Chicago, which would have given him.
Sorry, I just watched the wreck. My bad.
Is it nuts?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh my god.
I don't even want to show it
he's
on
on
the pod.
fire, dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he's on fire too. So like, it like ripped it hit so hard, whatever was on fire got thrown out of the car. Otherwise, he would have been completely on fire. So, Zilic is the only thing that's telling me don't rush to Cup is the fact that his best chance to win is at a road course and SVG still exists.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of a momentum killer it is. I don't know how much they feel like another year in ovals is going to matter for him at the Xfinity level. I think he's perfectly fine on ovals in terms of knowing the track. You know, just standard rookie. I don't think he's like experiencing what SVG is, which is like a whole different style of driving. But yeah, I think we're looking at the Xfinity Series champion. And I think we're looking at a guy who's about to end this season with maybe 7 to 8 wins. He's got 4. He's got. I think he's got 4 already. He's nasty. He's nasty business, and we got him in a Cup car at Watkins Glen as well.
Yeah.
If we have time tonight, I also want to talk playoff picture.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
You brought up the Glen. I've just been looking at the upcoming schedule, and
who needs it? Yeah, that'd be.
The playoff picture's real interesting right now, dude.
It has shaken up in the last couple of weeks. It has really shifted, compared to when we talked about maybe in our last last power ranking, really.
Yeah.
We've got 13 winners, 16 entrants to the playoffs. We got 4 races to go. We've got Iowa, the Glen, Richmond, and Daytona. All right. If I'm Chris Buescher, I'm feeling very good. Chris Buescher is a dog at Watkins Glen. He won it last year. And he's won Richmond before, right?
Yes.
So Chris Buescher, if I'm Chris Buescher, I'm feeling good. He's decent at the super speedway stuff. Didn't finish great at Iowa last year. Alex Bowman's got to be sweating, dude.
Yeah, Bowman's not winning the Glen.
No.
Bowman's not winning Richmond. He has a win at Richmond in the next gen, but I don't see him. That was a day where that car was unreal. Like he drove from 23rd to 1st, and then won it on a restart. I just don't think that I've seen that from the 48 on the short tracks.
Tyler Reddick is 138 points to the good. I feel like if you're Tyler Reddick, the only way you're not in the playoffs is if there's 3 new winners in the next 4 races. He's probably good.
He is the biggest. Buescher, he's the biggest SVG fan right now.
Yes,
he is. Yes. Go win Watkins Glen or Zilic. Either one of you. Just non-playoff. Go.
Yeah. Buescher's going to leapfrog Bowman, I have to think, with the remaining races, which puts Bowman on the cut line. And, man, it's going to get weird. And you got some guys. You got Allmendinger, McDowell right outside the cut line. Hocevar could shock the world and win a race. Keselowski doesn't have a win yet. He could win a race. Priest is right there, knocking on the door at the cut line. Kyle Busch, Ty Gibbs,
another one. I wouldn't sleep on the 40. I wouldn't sleep on the 43 either.
Eric Jones. Yeah.
Legacy Motor Club's been performing a lot better. Definitely could be a team that just like the stars align. If there's going to be a driver that steals a win, I think it'll be between him or Gibbs or the 8. Those are my 3 guys to like. I could see those guys winning races for sure. I would
bet on one more new winner.
Yeah,
one more, and it's going to be at Daytona the last week of the season.
It'll be Austin Dillon. It'll piss me off. It'll be Austin Dillon. Speaking of Austin Dillon, he is going to be filling in for Austin Hill as the 21 car has been suspended. Finally, some action taken as he got into some ruffled some feathers with Eric Almirola in the Xfinity race and then reared him into the
that
wall.
was a straight up right hook.
Don't wear white gloves. Bill Belichick, we used to get onto his receivers and players for wearing gloves that didn't match the jersey color of who they were playing, so they would get caught holding. So this is like the same deal there. Like, wear black gloves so that they can't see your hands inside the wheel. Seeing the whole white hands just flying to the left to go get to the rear of that car. No bueno.
That whole situation, man. Like, here's the other thing. He was like right after the wreck. He specifically said, and this goes two different ways, depending on how you interpret it. It goes two ways. Like, it happens, and he immediately says, "I didn't mean to right hook him." Right away. So, like that on his radio, like right out of the blue. And then they park him for 5 laps, and they tell him he's getting parked for 5 laps, and he says, "Fuck NASCAR," and I'm blah blah blah, and it's just like, all right, dude. So here's the thing. Again, his statement right afterwards, this is taking some of the visual out. It's one of two things. Either he's sincere, he means it, and he was losing that control, and he ended up there. That's not really passing the smell test to me.
No.
Or he's saying that because he is very conscious of the fact that he just right hooked a guy, so he's trying to make sure he makes a note in real time that there is evidence of saying, "I didn't mean to do it."
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, bro, you just saved that. You made a brilliant save after Almirola got into your back. And Almirola was like, they interviewed him after, and he was like, "Yeah, I got him loose," and he's talking about that kind of stuff. So like those two were kind of like battling it out a little bit. So nothing is stacked in Austin Hill's favor right now. I don't buy what he's saying there, because to me it looks like he got the car back straight. You are on a straightaway going into the turn, and there is not a NASCAR track really on this planet that's not a road course in which that is an appropriate maneuver on your steering wheel after that car has been moved back to a straight position. So
I mean, SMT data will prove any and all of those things, right? Not much that he can argue, and as a result, we see a 1 week suspension from him. Austin Dillon will drive this weekend. I think he's still going to be a championship contender, but when I'm looking at who's dominating,
they pulled all his playoff points as well.
Yes, part of it is he's got to re-earn his playoff position. So, be interesting to see. But there's not a whole lot of winners because Connor keeps winning everything. So, like, at this rate, he just needs to be, points his way into the playoffs, and he'll be fine. I am a little bit curious about him moving up, and the reason why is the amount of pay drivers and stuff like that down at this lower series. I am a little concerned. Like, don't run up too quick back to the Zilich thing. But man, it's been impressive. So, good weekend overall. Bubba wins, leg 17th, and somebody new won Victory Lane. Segue.
Yes.
Segue.
Yes.
Jeff tried to skim past it.
Finally ended.
You see this, Corey?
My streak has finally ended. No, I'm fine. I'm happy with not having to come up with something this week. I am happy for you, Finn. Congratulations. My span of being NASCAR Damas has taken a break, and I am cool with that.
I have been passively aggressively waiting for 2 things in my life. One, for you to and this isn't my Victory Lane. Passive aggressive, I've been waiting for 2 things. One is absolutely realistic and should have occurred. The second is just me being a jealous bitch. The first thing is Jeff, I don't remember last time I won Victory Lane. I let you have it to speak out on some IndyCar stuff and some things you wanted to speak on, and you haven't remembered that and repaid the favor throughout your streak. I've been expecting this is the week that he's going to say, "Finn, you get to have Victory Lane as repayment," and no, you haven't. So that's on you. The other thing I'm a petty bitch about, which I know isn't going to happen and shouldn't happen, but this motherfucker Corey owns a Jimmy Johnson raced wheel, or is going to be owning a Jimmy Johnson raced wheel. And I thought he was going to give it to me.
I have not heard anything more about that in a very long time.
Just to be clear, I think that's super sick. And because it's like a family friend, if it does happen, please keep it. That's sick. But you had announced it like right at my birthday time frame for the trip, and I was like, this is gonna be sick. And all I got for my birthday from you two fucks was that shitty Jimmy Johnson hat that you won at the Hendrick thing.
Sorry, man.
Thanks
for
really
nothing.
Feel, bro. I can't remember the last. Oh, I remember that birthday present you got me last year. It was nothing.
True. I said petty. I said I'm being a petty bitch. I didn't say I was being a good friend. I was reciprocated.
Somebody is channeling petty mayonnaise right now.
Okay.
That is for damn sure.
So for Victory Lane, if you guys don't know,
let me intro it.
Yeah,
let
yeah,
me do it.
yeah,
let me give you the full treatment, Finn. Jesus, man.
Thank you, Kyle Larson.
Give me a second. What's gonna happen here is Victory Lane on the show. For anybody that is unfamiliar, at the end of every show, we make our picks for a race, and whoever's pick comes the closest to the front by the end gets an opportunity to speak for 1 full minute uninterrupted without anybody jumping in on whatever they want to. And we have seen this go for multiple different topics. I have picked multiple different things that didn't even have anything to do with racing. I've picked stuff with that were racing. We've run the gamut on all kinds of different things. So with that, Finn picking Kyle Larson means he has won Victory Lane this week, which means Corey and I will need to shut the hell up for a minute and let Finn go. So I don't know what petty shit he's about to unleash now, but it's time. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, let it be known my last two Victory Lane wins have been SVG at a road course and Kyle Larson, which feels like I'm taking the easy way out, which I am. All right, my week-long rant here. We are getting really close to the start of another sports season. It's coming up here soon as preseason games are kicking off. And this is my number one pet peeve. Whenever you've got friends that talk sports and you want to get into it, right? Like this, we're starting a podcast. We're getting in depth. We're learning things, right? Or in the office with your work buddies. Hey, man, you catch the game this weekend? There's nothing that brings men together like talking about sports. But I swear to God, nobody cares about your fantasy team. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that Justin Jefferson missed a catch and you lost your fantasy matchup. Nobody cares, hey, Finn, should I trade Jahmyr Gibbs for 2 for... I don't give a shit. I have zero invested. I don't care if we are in the same fantasy league. Do not come to my desk and interrupt my time. Or say, even worse, hey, man, you catch the game this weekend? Yeah, I really like the schematic change. Oh, yeah, Jared Goff only got me 17 points. Go fuck yourself. I'm over it. I don't care. If you want anybody in the office or any of your buddies to care about your fantasy league, you know what you guys should do? Join a fantasy league together and join one team. One of you's in GM, so he's in charge of drafting and player management. The other person's in charge of roster lineup and stuff like that. That's what it should be. In fact, we should have a super fantasy league where a fantasy league all comes together and they pick and have a team against other fantasy leagues to see who the best fantasy league is. Now I give a shit because Corey comes to my desk and goes, hey, Finn, did you see how many points? I'm like, yes, you started Jared Goff over Jalen Hurts and got more points. Good call. Now we're invested. But if I do not get a payout if your fantasy team wins, don't fucking talk to me. All right, that's my minute.
Wow.
That's my minute.
So to that same point, like I can't remember who I ever this originally make the statement, but it is very true. The only thing that is more boring than fantasy football is listening to somebody else that's not in your league or any talk about their fantasy football team.
I don't.
So yeah. I understand wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
I will have these kind of discussions, but to be honest with you, like whenever I'm sitting at the bar watching a game somewhere and something's starting to come up, like I will have like small fantasy conversations, but it goes very quickly to where you start telling me the history of your team this season and my eyes will glaze over so fast.
Right.
Like I am happy for you and it is fine. It just like it goes from discussion to boredom. Yeah, that's crazy so fast.
There is one acceptable fantasy topic that I want to hear about your fantasy league about, and that is what weird ass rule you have. Okay, like I saw one.
Love weird rules.
I saw one that said if a field goal is attempted over 60 yards, if the kicker makes it, it's 60 points. If he misses it, it's a minus 60 points. I
The
love
minus is the killer. For
I
me.
love chaos. Right? Okay.
Yes.
You guys, I did here I am doing it. I did a league, that's
Yeah,
where,
Finn, why don't you tell me about your fantasy team?
that's where I give a shit. Okay. But Jesus Christ. I mean,
Dude, that no bench league you did was weird.
that
It
was a weird
mad
one.
weird.
No bench, no IR. If you don't if a guy doesn't play in his bye week that week, either you release him or you eat the points. Corey here got weird with it. Kickers and punters only, says somebody in chat. Corey here picked an all Denver Broncos team, so they all had the same bye week. So he was willing to forfeit 1 week of the year in favor of having a full team the rest of it. Maybe don't choose the Denver Broncos, but not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Russ did not cook for Corey here.
No, he did not.
But like
for that.
the way I
Broncos
see
country
it,
did not ride.
fantasy football is a fantastic tool to get somebody who likes football but doesn't know where to start watching and get invested into the sport to start watching every game. If you're telling yourself, why would I watch the Cardinals play the Jaguars? Fantasy football can help you want to watch that football game and expose yourself to more football. Yes, but once you've reached a level of knowledge in a sports, fantasy doesn't matter anymore. So as you are going out and talking to your coworkers about the game and their favorite team, just remember that nobody gives a shit about your fantasy team. Speaking of fantasy, you guys are the king of fantasy drafts in online sports games. Every time I've hopped in and you guys do like a little Madden thing. So on the NASCAR memes subreddit, they have been doing a fantasy redraft of all the drivers. They've ordered all the current rides, 1 through 36, the least desirable being the Rick Ware 41, and the most desirable being the Hendrick 24 car. And they've just been going through and voting who would, if all of the drivers were available and you had to put that guy in your car, what would you do? And they've picked 10 so far. Okay. So I want to expose this to you guys. So first, Rick Ware is going to get Kyle Larson. Felt like that was an easy one there, right?
Hold on.
What's up?
How does this work? They're picking from the bottom up?
From the worst team to the worst car to the best car. So that's how teams pick, right? Whenever a team, if you do a fantasy draft, right? Not a fantasy football draft, but a fantasy draft like a franchise, the shittiest team goes first, right? Shittiest team to the best team. That's how they're doing it in any draft. And then you just go down. So all of the worst rides. So right now, the 5 worst rides that they see in NASCAR right now, Rick Ware's Racing 51, the 35 of 23XI, the 41 Stuart Haas, the 4, which is a Front Row Motorsports now, and then the 7 car at Spire. Like that's the top 5, right? So now they're just driving. So the way they've got 10 done. So Kyle Larson's gone to Rick Ware Racing. Denny Hamlin gets picked to 23XI's 35 car. Makes sense. He picks himself. Cole Custer gets picked by the 41. It's his dad runs the team, right? Isn't it? So that makes sense. Ryan Blaney to the 4. So he stays in the Ford camp. Spire hangs on to their golden child, and Carson Hocevar goes top 5. Rounding at the 6th spot, in a colleague 10 car is going to be Chris Bell. So that seems to be Ryan Blaney seems to be the top current driver. I guess you could say Larson. I guess, yeah, but that's a clear number 1, and he's a little bit older. Chase Elliott gets picked number 7 to the 34. So Front Row Motorsports teammates Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott. Interesting development. Trackhouse in the 99 is going to take Connor Zilich. William Byron gets taken to RCR's 3. And rounding out the top 10 is Tyler Reddick to RFK 6. He was an RFK born driver, and now he gets a spot back. Yeah. So my thoughts are the next 3 rides are the 88 at Trackhouse, the 38, which is the last Front Row Motorsports car, and the 77 Aspire. Who are you taking at this point? I'll repeat the drivers because I know you're not looking at it. Larson, Hamlin, Custer, Blaney, Hocevar, Bell, Elliott, Zilich, Byron, and Reddick.
And those are the drivers that have been taken.
Those have been taken. So who is left? And if you're the 88, 38, and 77. Now, I want you to think of this. I will actually, each of us get one. So who wants the 88? Trackhouse. Who wants to be? You're Justin Marks. Corey, do you want to be a Spire guy or the Front Row Motorsports of 38?
Spire.
Spire. Okay, so you're going to be the last here. So you got to choose after us, and then I get the 38. So think for a second the perspective of that team, right? Like Trackhouse, they're the 88. They've got solid equipment, but it's not top tier. You could choose a young gun to help drive the program up. They've already taken Zilich. If you're Trackhouse, you already got Zilich in the 99. Who are you going after here?
Well, like that, there's just been some interesting developments and switches and stuff like that with that. But you know what? And I need somebody who's going to be able to maneuver that car and be able to get a car that's not, quite there near the top. So I'm going to want some experience. I'm going to want to have somebody that's got some, that's going to have some know-how. I'm kind of debating where I want to go with it, but just for jollies, I'm going to take Joey Logano.
I don't hate that pick, man. He's young as shit. You got 10 years. You've got 10 years.
Yeah.
You know he's going to overperform in the car.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
hate
taking
that
Joey
pick.
Logano in that.
I'm not going to lie, I was heavily leaning Joey Logano as well. What do you got, Joey Logano. Well, I'm next.
Corey's last.
Corey's next. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go the cheap route. Okay, so I'm the 38 car, so I've already got Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott. So I've got 2 championship contenders if I'm in the 38 camp. What's the easiest way to get 3 championship contenders? To deny other drivers an opportunity or to put more pressure on them to make it to the playoffs is to steal a playoff spot. And what's the easiest way to steal a playoff spot? Win a race. And what's the easiest way to win a race?
I'm interested to know what that is. Go ahead, tell me.
He's taking SVG.
Is taking SVG, putting him in a road course car. That's the easiest way.
That was gonna be exactly my logic. Right. I was about to take him too. He's got 3 wins. The fact that he's still available at this point, he's gonna be a championship contender. I know it sounds crazy, but he is going to be a championship contender. He's gonna maybe not at Phoenix, right? But he's gonna be in the picture in the 3rd round of the playoffs, probably.
Right. I absolutely see him getting past the 1st round. He also had a solid day at Indy. I can't remember exactly where he finished. Oh, right behind
high teens.
Right, but he was running up there and qualified well, just to be clear. That car qualified pretty decent.
Man,
all right.
I don't love you doing that, but
I
don't know. Now I probably don't know what to do.
So you're in the Spire car, you've got Hocevar, right? Already in one of your rides.
Yeah.
Are you thinking you need to get another guy in one of the rides to possibly? There's a guy right there.
Is Reddick still available?
Reddick is not available. Let me go through the drivers taken: Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Cole Custer, which is so random for him to go top 3.
This is the problem: is that there's all these. Who are the random ones? Is
Custer, Blaney, Hocevar, Bell, Elliott, Zilich, Byron, Reddick, Logano, SVG.
I'll tell you who I'm taking. Ross Chastain.
Yo, not even taking.
That's who I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, what?
I saw this coming. Yeah. I saw this coming.
Ross Chastain.
You're taking Ross Chastain?
Of all the guys who are left, it's either Briscoe or Chastain.
It's Briscoe, dude. It's Briscoe.
And those are the only two. Those are the only 2 guys really left. Maybe Chris Buescher, or is he gone too?
Buescher's available. Yeah, no, I think it's a great pick.
It's kind of like that's the tier, right? It's like your Chastain, Briscoe, Buescher tier of drivers. Where honestly, you could probably just put them in a shaker and pick one at this point. But to be teammates with Carson Hocevar, I'm probably picking Ross Chastain and just having the Wild West of NASCAR teams just out there doing things and hoping for the best.
I like that. Yeah.
You can't
I saw this coming.
He's maybe Bubba. Bubba's fringe this category as well for me. But yeah, I'm probably taking Chastain. Honestly, Briscoe's been good this year. Chastain has shown an ability over the long term to be very competitive in what is high mid-tier equipment
Right.
He can win races. He's going to compete. He's going to be there. He's gonna jump up and grab one when you don't expect him to. He's competitive at road courses. He's kind of competitive everywhere. There's nothing he's bad at, but there's nothing he's especially great at either. So I'm probably taking the all-arounder and going with Ross Chastain.
Yeah, he's going to be the guy that if he didn't win one, he probably sneaks in on a points scenario and gets you there. I would take, if I would have taken Briscoe, just because we've seen him win in just shitty Stewart-Haas equipment when they needed it most, and been more competitive. But I think you're absolutely right. And even Buescher's not a bad get there. I am interested to see how this thread goes. After those 3 picks, there's the Stenhouse 47, Legacy Motor Club's 42, and then the Wood Bros 21. I don't know how far down I think Alex Bowman is going to get taken, but there's
pretty low.
Again, I think he deserves a little bit more respect. But there's some Gibbs to Bowman. That'll be some guys are going to be thinking, ooh, maybe go after Gibbs. Priest or Bowman, people are probably going to take Priest. Wallace
Bubba
or Bowman. I think that I might be able to sway a couple more people to go Bowman, but not for the reasons that they should happen. Cindric's another name. Cindric's another name.
Where does Ty Gibbs come in?
Oh man, it's tough because he's in the top tier of cars.
Yeah.
He is young and he's got that going for him, but we have never seen Ty Gibbs in a car as bad as the 47. I'm interested when we come back, when they finish this, I want to see who we think the championship favorites would be. Because Kyle Larson, as much as we like him, is not winning in the 51, right? Like, we're like, I get it. Do we see a Denny Hamlin in the 35 ride competing with, say, Ricky Stenhouse in the 20? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be very interested to see how this shapes out. Who ends up 24th? Just be clear, just going up from the bottom of the list, the top car is the 24 car, which I agree. The Hendrick 24 is a legendary ride. Still top tier equipment. It's going to be the most coveted ride in NASCAR, I think. Then there's the 9, then there's the 5, then the 11. Joe Gibbs 11 is the flagship non-Chevy. The 45, which I think is an interesting choice to go that low, but whatever. The 20, the 12, the 19, and the 1. So this might have been done based on points. I can't imagine right now if you said, Brandon, do you want to drive the 1 car or the 22 car for Penske? What ride would you want to take? It's interesting that cars is lower as it is, but it'll be fun. So I'll send that over to you guys. It's on NASCAR memes.
Especially if we're including crew chiefs into that, because Paul Wolf is kind of a wizard.
Yeah,
so
I think the idea is, I think the idea is the team is as it is. Like, for example, Hamlin has to take the 35 team. Hamlin doesn't get to take the 35 because he's the owner, then give himself the 45, right? Which Denny Hamlin would 100% do, and then run a disinformation campaign that says, I'm winning in this 35 car. And we're like, no, we know you just put the 35 number on the 45 team. Stop it, Denny. So there's that. So,
That's just personality, Finn.
I don't know.
Rolling through that, one of the things that I did want to talk about, because I think it deserves the conversation, because there was some extra interesting stuff that was happening at Indy this week that I thought was very cool, that I thought NASCAR did a good job with. So one of the things I definitely wanted to do was Bubba, first time in 100 races, getting this win is fantastic. I am so stoked for him, and you could see the emotion coming out of him of finally getting there. For somebody, it's very relatable in a lot of ways for a guy who, he wears his emotion on his sleeve, and he's notorious for that. He's notorious for getting inside his own head, and he's notorious for just generally being just a very expressive guy, right? When you listen to his radio, he is in that moment all the time, and he is not afraid to let the feelings flow, and he does what he's got to do. And that's one of the things that makes him an interesting and compelling driver to follow.
Just like Chase Elliott.
Yeah, exactly. Just the first person I would have thought of to be just like that. It's definitely Chase Elliott.
Chase Banana Bread Elliott. He will forever be known as Banana Bread on here.
Banana Bread. So, but there were a few things that I wanted to get to. For one, the burnout you mentioned was great. the moment when he takes Bex at and just turns around and kind of does the Lion King maybe up to the crowd was magical. Like all of those scenes were great. The other thing that I thought NASCAR did, and I'm now in this camp where Cookie Monster needs to be at more races because all of that was just so cool. Like if you watched any of the promo videos leading up, like Bubba interacting with Cookie Monster going into this because he went all in on it. It was awesome. Like and him being the marshal of the race and like all that kind of stuff. So cool. And it was just like one of those things where like this is great because it's NASCAR doing something fun and not taking itself so serious that it sucks the fun out of it. And doing something cool with that. And I thought it was awesome, man. I don't know, maybe as a good luck charm for Bubba. Maybe we need to get NASCAR to get Cookie Monster out to more races. That would be fantastic. But either way, I thought that added some fun to the race. And just generally, like my feelings on that anyway. If Denny wasn't going to finally get that Indy win that he's been chasing for his career now, is trying to cross off that final crown jewel. If anybody else was going to get it, it was for me. I'm so glad that it was Bubba because I mean, you guys know, like Bubba's right up there with me, probably up my number 2 at this point. When Denny like eventually hangs it up, you know, for whatever years are remaining after that, it's probably going to be Bubba. I mean, it's just as our, you know,
Oh, there it is.
resident full guy, you know, but
no, I think
the weekly Jeff signal drop just for a second.
Just for a second.
Oh boy, there it was.
It is only a second. Well, here's my thing, man.
I didn't realize that was a trope. All right, sick.
Every week.
People need to. It's your bingo card. Brandon hates Penske.
This is how we find out. Yeah, I was going to say
Chef's glitches.
find out that there's bingo happening.
It's the thing with Bubba, and it's just like he's so fun. Like it's really fun. Like he has this. He does some Legends car racing at Charlotte. He did a vlog on it 3 days before the race. And first off, if he did the whole vlog is from qualifying to race and a bunch of stuff in between with him, Scotty McLaughlin, the IndyCar driver,
yes.
and SVG.
Yeah,
so that's like an unlikely trio that I expected to see was 2 Kiwis and then Bubba Wallace doing Legends car racing, and you get to see like those personalities shine a little bit more. SVG's obviously hilarious to watch, but Bubba and Scotty going at it. You kind of see him out of his shell a little bit and kind of being himself. Super cool, and they really get involved in that racing community that's out there. There's like a young kid that was racing in the lower series 1, and they were like talking to him like he was one of the boys. They didn't big league him, and that's really cool to see is drivers getting out there making content, doing cool shit in this like age where more people can do content. But also like Bubba is exactly what everybody wants from a NASCAR driver. Like started in ARCA, worked his way up, went toe to toe with Kyle Larson at a dirt race and beat him. Hopped in and took over a legendary ride, but a lower team ride. Didn't get gifted anything. You know what I mean? And then worked his way up, showed some flashes of talent.
What ride are you talking about?
The 43. Bubba used to drive the 43 car when they were called Richard Petty Motorsports.
Used to drive for Petty.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. Used to drive for Petty. That was around the time 2020 COVID, where he started taking big stances on the Confederate flag at the track and of course speaking out to what was happening socially at the time, and kind of that was started like that because Bubba was loved at the track. You wouldn't believe it in those early days. Like it was like, okay, well Bubba's going to be one of the next big drivers.
Yes. At the track. Here's the other thing, because I'm with you on that as far as like perception seemed to change in a way that like the general aura of everything was moving in a certain direction, and unfortunately, like in a lot of cases that have been, NASCAR has stood stagnant in regards to like as far as like a lot of the fandom like stood firm while everything else was attempting to move forward. So that's not hasn't been uncommon, which sucks, but it is what it is. Here's the other thing is that you saw on Sunday when he won, just about every driver was coming by, like giving him a wave, like bumping the side of the car. He is loved with, like, you don't have a locker room within NASCAR, but if you did, Bubba, he would be one of those guys that like he's a locker room joy. He's one of those guys you want in your
Like they're not in the driver's meeting rolling their eyes every time Bubba speaks. It's not like, oh, it's the Bubba show. Like, in fact, it was actually
like they did when Austin Hill came out.
Right.
Leading into this week. Yes.
It was like when the 88 and that at the end I saw the 88 come up and give him a bump, and I was like, oh, like that's nice. SVG knows, I was like they're not really buddies. And then I saw that little YouTube video, and I was like, oh, they actually are. They hang out a lot.
Yes.
They do the Legends racing together.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bubba's definitely loved, and I always felt it was weird because he's exactly what you want in the NASCAR driver. Like right now, you think of like the prototypical paths to pro. The best story I think in my mind right now is Chase Briscoe, right? Like sneaking in the Indiana and trying to get to people, and then moving to Charlotte and working in a team, going to Wendy's to get the 4-for-4 every evening because that's all he made money-wise and all he could afford, and living on people's couches. Okay, great. Bowman coming over, working his way up through Brad Keselowski Racing with, Austin Cindric in their young years, becoming a sim driver, and then because he gets so good with setups and communicating, Dale Earnhardt gets hurt and says, hey, why don't you take Bowman? Why do you need to go bring Jeff Gordon back from the grave to come race these cars? Why don't we just have the Bowman kid do it? And the Bowman kid goes out and shows flashes, and now he's in a Hendrick car. Like Bubba working his way all the way up, fighting through all these series, working on these lower rides, takes a chance with this Michael Jordan funded ride, and then all of a sudden he's blossomed into a regular playoff driver. I just don't understand how NASCAR guys can look at the Nepo babies, the Dillons, the Gibbs, and go, that's horrible. And then you turn around to these guys and are like, that's shit. Like, what do you want? Like, let's be honest. Yeah. Chase Elliott, bit of a Nepo guy, right? Bit of a Nepo hire.
A bit of a Nepo guy?
Bill, so here's why I don't get too.
A team, but
Chase Elliott is definitely got funding because of his name, for sure. But also, like, it's not like Chase Elliott. It's not like Bill Elliott's a big Hendrick guy. That's another thing, too. Like, Bill Elliott wasn't a Hendrick guy driving, if I recall. So, like, that's how I kind of see it, too. Like, it definitely makes sense to put him in the car, and he's definitely a draw and has the fanship because of his dad. But also, there's a little bit of womanship because he's not very entertaining. We've already talked about that, right? We call him banana bread. So he's definitely
nice banana bread.
He's definitely in the list, but he's not, to my opinion. Like I mean, it's not just like, why is this guy in a car? Like Riley Herbst's family basically buying the charter for Denny Hamlin. He's in the car because of that. You know what I'm saying? We were just talking about this fantasy draft. I hope Catherine Legg gets the 24. That's what I hope they do. Put Catherine Legg in the 24
and just run it all. Yeah.
And see how long it takes before she's winning a race. You know what I'm saying? Like Catherine Legg is winning a race in a 24 before Kyle Larson is winning a race in, I don't know, the Colleague 10. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Kyle Larson might win a race in the Colleague 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You know what I mean? But like that's that's the scenario here. So
I'll say this about the Bubba thing. I'm super pumped that he won. That Chumba Casino money has to be crazy.
That car
ugly as hell. That is one of the worst paint schemes I have ever seen.
I like every ugly paint scheme because it makes that shitty Jimmy Johnson one from a couple years ago, the club one.
The Wyndham?
Wyndham. That is
ugly.
That is the worst scheme in NASCAR history. I fully... Jimmy, I love you. What the hell is that, brother?
Chumba Casino is pushing it, though.
Nah, I don't mind
that. That is a terrible scheme.
I don't mind it. So, all right. So we got...
I've seen worse. I mean, I don't know. Like the Chumba, I understand because it's just like, I don't know. It's different. It's unique. Yeah, that's, but I don't know. It was, yeah. There was something to it. I was like, God damn,
that car is ugly. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. That car is ugly as shit.
Not any cool Jordan brand ones.
It's not even a good, like, the colors don't even work together. It's just like some kid got a hold of a box of markers and just started drawing on stuff. It doesn't make any. There's no cohesion at all. It's just
it's gonna come out that scheme was designed by like a poor kid that has cancer, leukemia, and then Corey's gonna have to eat those.
Terrible. I'm sorry, kid. The scheme is terrible.
Sorry, kid. I know you got leukemia, but learn the color. You heard it here first at the Intentional Wreck Podcast. Oh, anyway, Jesus.
Great win. Terrible scheme.
All right, we're on to Iowa. And
we're on to Iowa. And let me just say, Finn, by the way, let me just add to that. You know who did win Iowa last year?
Fuck. Was
It was Ryan
was it
Blaney.
Ryan
So
Blaney?
yes, we are carrying on the tradition of Finn just going into full memory lapse every time a Penske driver.
For what it's worth, while I was shitting on the Penske season last year, I remember turning around on this race and going, yeah, Ryan Blaney deserved that one. He was the best car all day. Ford's got something figured out at this track, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, back-to-back Ford wins here. I don't remember either of them, so they must be Penske wins. As they are both Googling right now live to see who won the 2023 Iowa race.
I don't gotta Google. I got Motorsport.
There wasn't one. It was
I can find it quick.
24 was the first time they went back to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't run it in 23.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They went to Iowa in 24. There's been one other race there.
There you go. I'm all blacked out from it, but they got
the Ryan Blaney show.
They've got the differently paved, turns, and it's gonna be interesting. I'm just gonna go back. I'm excited.
This is the one where I was killing it in iRacing last year, though.
This is a fun track.
Killing it at Iowa.
This is a fun track. It races like a faster short track. You got a lot of off throttle time. As the runs get going and a little trail break in, it's solid. It's a fun one. I don't know if they're gonna have 2 lanes. I have to go back and watch that race again this week. See, what I want to go. But we're making these picks blind, and we don't care. And I need another victory lane, right? In fact, just to be clear, my victory lane was completely different. And then halfway through this pod, Corey invited me to the fantasy league, and I said, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm ranting about."
Funny how that ends up panning out, isn't it?
Yeah, and then every victory lane I'm going to get for the rest of the season, I'm just going to talk about my fantasy team. Make you all listen to it. Make you all listen to it. All right, so
all right, guys, I will try very hard to. We don't want our listeners falling asleep.
Well, by October, we're going to replace this entire podcast with us just running online races in NASCAR 25 together, and that's going to be exciting.
Probably.
So that'll be super dope.
The streams will carry on, friends.
We can't call it Forza Friday. We can call it Stock Car Saturday. Every Saturday, get the races in. I'm excited.
Yeah,
they dropped some. If you didn't catch it, they dropped some screenshots of the race, the RFK Racing, not the Secretary of Health. Don't get those confused. Don't go to that Twitter expecting to see NASCAR clips. But some interesting clips posted, some stuff under caution, a little view of the race at Charlotte. Looks fine. Again, I expect to look fine. I think it'll be good. The release date's October 14th, so we are roughly 2 months away.
2.5 months?
2.5 months. So that's exciting. So shall we make our Iowa picks, fellas?
Hey.
Oh shit. I lost both of them.
I'm back. I'm back. We are 10 podcasts away from NASCAR 25.
There we go. That's exciting.
That's all right. Sick.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. So,
all right.
What's our pick?
With that being the case, do we want to make our Iowa picks?
Yep. Who finished last? We should have been doing this last. Who finishes last the week before gets to choose first the next week.
Well, that would have been great for you to come up with before. I don't even remember who we had last week. Briscoe, Larson, and Blaney.
Mm-hmm.
I think Blaney finished higher than Briscoe.
Yeah,
so
I go first. I am taking Paul Wolfe and Joseph Logano and 22 car.
Okay. Go forward.
Penske has, last year they were like first, third, and sixth or something like that. So, Josh Berry being one of those. Cindric finished in the 20s, but Penske and Ford definitely got something going at this track. Joey Logano tends to perform well at tracks that guys haven't run a lot. He's a very quick adopter of stuff. So I'm taking Logano.
All right.
Okay.
Jeff Afa, what you got?
That, for me, I'm kind of like trying to figure out and going back and forth because like it was definitely not a Toyota track. Chris Bell fared fairly well in the last time, but that's it. Outside of that, there's nobody else within the top in the so. Like, I have a feeling I'm probably going to be watching this with gritted teeth from a fan perspective. So it's looking like it could potentially be a Chevy or Ford and, trying to decide like which way I want to go with it. But I'm like leaning back and forth between two guys and like, I want to go with the guts. So then that way we don't have to have Finn coming out and see discussion, with that and going against his own rule that he ranted against this time. I'm going to go with William Byron.
Ooh, okay.
I think this is the first time I've picked Byron in a victory pick this year. So I'm going to take Byron. I think he's going to do it, like, because this also, the way that Iowa is laid out, it's one of those tracks that we could see him, if he qualifies reasonably well and he gets anywhere and he's anywhere near the front and has the ability to make his way up and get that clean air up in the beginning, this could be a, William Byron takes the entire field, takes stage 1, stage 2, and then is just who can get the caution to attempt to pass him for stage 3 and then fail at it. I'm picking William Byron for this one.
There you go.
All right, well, there's 2 solid ones. I think we're at the time where crunch time needs to occur, and we need to see guys that need to perform go perform. I'm going to say the 17. I'm going to go Chris Buescher this week.
Interesting.
I think they step it up here, get it done.
I was wondering about that because this, like, just kind of it's put up or shut up time for the 17.
Yep.
He finished 18th last year.
Yeah.
Lap down.
Right. But this is definitely one of those situations where this is a driver that it is like, it's showtime, bro. Like, if you're going to get there and you need to make this happen, you've got a couple opportunities you're going to want to, like, Buescher's one of those guys that you generally expect to be around the playoff discussion, if not in it by now. He ain't there. So it's time to make something happen. So, like, I could see that being, like, as we roll into looking at what the playoff standings look at right now, who's in, who's out, as we were going over before, that's one of those drivers that I'm kind of, the seat is heating up as far as I'm concerned in regards to this year and meeting expectations. You expect a Buescher to get to the play.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, of the tracks remaining, I feel like this is the one he's got the worst shot at. Because the Glen and Richmond and Daytona, he's going to do just fine. So if he does well in Iowa, he's all set.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, it's not uncommon that we see situations where you're in this crunch time and it has to happen. And you're thinking, okay, this is a track that a driver is expected to do well at. Doesn't always work out in those cases because who knows what the mentality situation is, but there are cases where it rolls in and they ain't there. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, this is the time they have the bad race. You want to knock this out as early as possible. So,
amen to that.
Yeah. All of that being said, I think that's going to wrap things up for us this week. Please make sure you check us out on YouTube and Spotify under the name Intentional Wreck Pod. YouTube and Twitch under the name Intentional Wreck Pod. We will be getting back to the audio feeds here very shortly for all of my fellow audio listener friends. Don't worry, we will be looking out. Make sure you check out the Moonlight Racing League on Wednesday night. Finn will be running commentary. That they've been fun. It's been a great season, and have an occasional highlight. Probably do some more of those next week, but
for sure.
We didn't get to it this week. I would say follow us on the socials. We haven't as much with our social way. It's probably just a bad admittance, but it is what it is. I'm not going to just sit here and pretend. Somebody's probably gone to our Twitter feed and looked at that and be like, hey, these dummies haven't tweeted in forever. So yeah, is what it is.
You're right. That we're dummies and we haven't tweeted forever.
That's right. So if you like 3 dummies in talking racing and haven't updated socials in a while, well, you've come to the right place. So hopefully you can. Anyway, find us, follow us, check us out on those platforms. Please like, share, subscribe. We will catch y'all next week. Hope y'all have a lovely weekend, and we'll talk after. Y'all have a good one.
See ya.
Peace out.